It is 4:30 p.m. in Lagos, Nigeria, 10:30 a.m. in New York City, 5:30 p.m. in Johannesburg, South Africa, and 7:30 p.m. in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo. Wherever in the world you are watching us, welcome to another episode of 90 Minutes Africa. My name is Rudolph Okonkwo. My co-host, Chido Onoma, is on assignment.
I don't listen to teachers. I don't do assignments in class. So when she sent it to me, I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to try to find a way to do this for her and please her because I'm very anti-intellectual. Very, very. I don't like intellectual discussion. I don't like it bothers me. That's why I didn't finish university. It's a lifestyle that is not good for me. Seriously. But what can we do?
What can we do? In a 2016 Premium Times interview, he said that Chinua Achebe's classic novel, Things Fall Apart, should be buried and never made to resurrect because Achebe's writing, Things Fall Apart, at that age was not intelligent and he was not exposed. Recently, he weighed in again on what he called the Adichie Akweke Obanje matter, saying that Chimamanda Adichie created Akweke Emezie monster and that Akweke was not an Obanje and that Akweke needed to check into a mental home. If Oscar Wilde had reincarnated in Africa, he must have come back as Onyeka Nwelue. Professor Onyeka Nwelue is an academic visitor at the African Studies Center at the University of Oxford and a visiting scholar at the Center for African Studies at the University of Cambridge. He has written over 21 award-winning books. Professor Onyeka, welcome to the show.
I ran away from UNN, and I ran away because of a lecturer who was abusing me verbally. Also, I wanted to run away, because the teaching methodology was very, very boring. This lecturer, her name is Dr. Ezekwe. UNN students are here, they know her, GS 101. So she will come, she will be walking like this, like she's pregnant. And you know why I like to mention names, so that you don't think I'm lying. So she will come and walk up, and I'm not trying to spite her as well, but she's the reason why I left. So I need to tell her the truth. Foreign university, why are you telling us? We are here, you're teaching us here, and you're telling us rubbish. And you're actually teaching from a textbook that we have. So what is the essence of you calling yourself a teacher when you can't teach from your heart? You need to teach what you know. And this is why I found the question the writers asked me very ridiculous. Because I'm teaching African studies. I've traveled to 45 countries at the age of 27. I'm very arrogant, but this is what I learned as a child. Pride and honesty can only take you to where you want to go to. I've been privileged, very, very privileged, not by any connections from any family, but still, there is a way you can ride on the glory of your background. I'm related to Charlie Boy. No, I'm not joking.
Onyeka, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
It's an honor to have you. It's an honor to have you here today.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think we can hear you.
Okay.
So, let me confess something. I mean, I met you in New York and I know you. I thought I knew you until I said overnight, just let me do a little research, see where you are and things going. I was so amazed. I felt like you are probably our own Oscar Wilde. No, seriously. I went through your tweets for the last 2 days. Amazing. We have a lot to talk about. Let me start by a lot. So it's amazing, and I hope our guests, our audience, will watch. And I think you have something special. Let's start by looking at the political environment in Nigeria. That's where we normally start. What is going on? I see some of the tweets you sent out. It appears you have a candidate you are supporting for president. Do you?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I have.
And who is that?
And his name is Mr. Peter Obi.
Why?
Before Peter Obi, there was Kingsley Mohale. And I remember being contracted by someone, not Kingsley Mohale himself. And the contract was not moneyed. It had no monetary value to it, but it was Professor Onyeka sending me an email and saying that he was going to put me on a team to work for Mohale. And Mohale didn't know me at all. In fact, I met him for the first time in Oxford when he came for my film premiere of a biopic of Ojukwu that I made, Other Side of History. So he came. That was my first time of meeting him. But before then, Professor Onyeka had urged me to be on a team to work with him. And before Professor Mohale, there was Showore, whom I was part of the team that organized this town hall meeting in Pretoria when I was living in South Africa. I had the privilege of having access to him. So the people that I support are people that I know genuinely will bring some sort of change to Nigeria. When Professor Mohale didn't win the primaries in his party, and I thought, looking at what Mr. Peter Obi has done, and the way he's consistent with his narrative, the way he shows himself up where he's necessarily needed, I thought he's better placed at the moment. And also, it could be a tribal thing, right? It could be a tribal thing. I don't have to deny that. I've tweeted about it that I'm supporting him because he's an Igbo man, and it's okay if other people support their own people because they come from different tribes. But I also think it's time to have a president from the Igbo land, as the other party presidential candidate of APC has said is his turn. I think every tribe should say it's also their turn. Every tribe has the right to say it's their turn, but the other guy is saying it's his own turn. But I'm saying it's the turn of this tribe, not this person. Now, another statesman that I admire a lot, President Obasanjo, has said he's endorsing him. So Peter B is my choice, and I think every young person should go with me.
Very good. Are you part of the campaign in any way?
No, I am not. I even tried to volunteer, but I think they are too busy to consider people like us who are not important. So I'm running my own thing individually. I chatted with Mr. Val Ezigbo. I don't think they want. I said I want to volunteer, but no positive response. But I said, okay, let me go to Twitter and show my support in my own way.
Yeah, I saw some of your tweets, and one of them you were responding to this People's Gazette story where it says Igbos overcrowding Lagos because Obi refused to develop Anambra State by Tinubu.
Yeah,
you retweeted a tweet along that. What do you think about such headlines?
No, I think I like to call him Baba because we need to respect our elders. I think Baba Tinubu is very old, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but old age can be a disease. No, I'm not I'm not aspiring to get to that age really, because this world is full of stress, and I don't know how. That's why when I see old people like Onyeka, James Corey, and the rest of them, I really want to understand how they're able to live up to 80. They have seen the world go round like this. They are not bored, or they are bored. Maybe they are bored, but then I'm not aspiring to get to that age. That's why I live my life like a speed train, so I can finish the things that I want to do right now and then move on to the great beyond. So I think what some of the things he says, I mean, Tinubu himself, he says them because he's no longer here. He's no longer here. He's already an ancestor. Yeah.
We are going to get into your views about literature, and we are going to get our audience involved. But let me ask you: you are currently at Oxford, is it?
Yeah, Oxford and Cambridge.
And Cambridge. Okay, what are you doing there?
I'm an academic visitor at the African Studies Center, University of Oxford, where I have established fellowships in the name of James Corey. I just went to see him this morning before I came online. James Corey, as we know, co-founded the African Writer Series with our great Chinua Achebe, whom people sort of attacked me when I said something about Things Fall Apart long time ago. And when I said that thing about Things Fall Apart, in the same vein, I also mentioned that Antilles of the Savannah is one of the best novels ever written in this world, right? But people say, oh, why would you say that about Things Fall Apart? Without understanding that people have taste. So let's get back to African Writer Series. Chinua Achebe was a founding editor of African Writer Series. So he published his own book. He got support from people like James Corey, Alan Hill, Gore, and the rest of them. It's the same thing that I am doing right now by setting up my own publishing house. I'm publishing myself because you can't really arrogate power to people. Because if he did, Things Fall Apart would not have been published. And it was published when he was young. So there could have been mistakes, yeah. And you say words like enmity being written as an enmity in the book. And I mentioned this, and people got angry because it's apparently the most powerful novel ever written by an African. I wasn't trying to insult Chinua or Things Fall Apart. Nowhere at all. Because if I was, I would be an ungrateful bastard, because it was Chinua Achebe who made sure that Efuru was published. But what I do is I light the fire and it keeps burning. I don't go back to put it off so that Nigerians will feel good with themselves. So I let the fire burn then. And at the end of the day, I own African Writer Series now.
Let me play a video of you meeting James Corey.
This is Joanna here.
Hello, Joanna.
Hello. Nice
My name is Onyeka.
Hello, Onyeka.
I set up the James Corey Prize for African Literature.
Oh, sorry.
I set up the James Corey Prize for African Literature.
James told me. I understand. How beautiful you look.
Oh,
Well,
thank you. Okay.
oh, good Lord.
This is for you. This is for you for everything you've been doing for us. Yeah. So you can hold it.
This is. My goodness. James Mountbatten.
Right away. So, yes, we'll have to have it close.
Oh, how?
Yeah, somewhere.
So let's take a picture.
All right. So yeah, continue. So you are publishing African
Writer's Series. It's being handed over to me by James.
Okay.
So it's been published under BB Man Publishing. And now on March 29th, we'll be releasing Flora Wapa's last novel in Oxford. And her first daughter will come to speak about the process of getting the manuscript to us and the rest of them. So is something that I proposed to some universities in Africa, and they refused to approve it. But when I wrote to James Curry about it, what he did was to put me in touch with Professor Wale Adebanwi, who was the director of the African Studies Center, and he quickly approved this within a week, that, hey, you can come to Oxford and settle here and do all these projects. And then, like I said, I had already proposed that to other African universities, which I don't want to mention because I don't want us to have a bad relationship. They might need me. I might need them tomorrow. So they invited me as an academic visitor, and it's been renewed. My tenure has been renewed. One of the days we were doing the James Curry Open Day at Oxford, some directors of African Studies Centers in British universities came to the place. They said they didn't know James Curry was alive. So they came and then they saw James Curry sitting at one corner of the place. And that was how I met the director of the Center for African Studies, University of Cambridge. I told her, you guys travel all the way from Cambridge to Oxford to see the works of James Curry. How come we can't collaborate? Knowing that Oxford and Cambridge are rival universities, Cambridge said, okay, you can come as a visiting scholar and teach us about James Curry. At February 23rd of this month, which happens to be, I think, the election day, right? I will be doing my trial as the first James Curry Studies professor at the University of Oxford. So it might just be a score and a glorious day for me and Peter Rupi. So it might just be that. But the work I'm doing in the United Kingdom is based on the works of James Curry. He does not know the impact he made on young people graduating from secondary schools in Africa who were reading books published on the African Writers Series. He does not even know at all. Every day I have to try to remind him, but he feels like, he tries to be modest, but it's a huge honor. I remember on his 85th birthday, which I organized here in Oxford, I threw an invitation to Dr. Margaret Busby, who does not go anywhere, who is like the biggest African publisher in Britain. And she accepted to come. Alexander Pringle of Bloomsbury, that published Harry Potter, came to that party, spent the night because of James Curry. And he was telling me today he was shocked to see the lady come there. I said, because she told me you inspired her. So many things he doesn't know, but I'm digging them up. I've made a documentary on him already. There is David Hunde is going to be the first distinguished James Curry Fellow at Cambridge. There is Mitra and the Curry. They're all arriving the end of this month to the UK. And the idea is to have them develop works on James Curry, visit him, speak to him, interview him, and write up, publish books on James Curry, and then the connection he has had with Africa for a long time.
That's fascinating, and I'm glad you are doing that work, and I wish you all the best. Let's look at other things that you've done. You've written several books. You've traveled to several countries. As of last count, was it 40-something countries in the world?
81.
81 countries in the world. How do you do that?
How? In what way?
What I mean is, how do you just wake up and pick any country and say you are going there?
Oh yes, I do that sometimes. I remember early last year, in April, I think, I saw that some of my favorite Indian authors were meeting somewhere in Maldives. Shobadi, Dr. Shashi Tharu, some of the writers that I love so much in India, they were meeting in an intimate place in Maldives Island, in a big resort. So I bought a flight ticket and then I went there. And when I got in, Shoba was shocked. They were screaming. what are you doing here? I said, I read somewhere that you guys would be here, so I said, let me join you. And that's how I do it too. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. When I first met Nwelue, I was in Imo State. I was 16 years old. I went to a cyber cafe where I read online that he was going to be doing. He will be at an event they were organizing for him by Mr. German and Professor Femi Osofisa. So I read it and I got on the bus and I went. And also 2010, Professor Shoyinka was going to Jaipur in India. I read it. I told my publisher, I said, publisher, they say Wole Shoyinka will be so place. And you know the best place to catch a big Nigerian is abroad. So can we go? And he agreed. And me and his wife, we went. And we had a good time with Wole Shoyinka. So whenever I want to, I can wake up and say, I'm done from here, and I move. Yeah. But I think Oxford has humbled me and sort of put me in a place. Johannesburg almost did it to me. I stayed in Johannesburg. I still have a home there in Johannesburg. But it sort of confined me to a place. I was going crazy. I had to seek for the help of a psychiatrist. It being put in one place, because in South Africa, there is a problem with the South African government has with Nigerians and other foreigners, that every year you have to renew your visa and you have to pay a lot of money to renew it. And sometimes these visa applications stay in there for 6 months. So you have to find someone to bribe to be able to get it renewed and go out and come in. So it was, South Africans love bribery more than Nigerians. So I have to say it here. Yeah.
So what's your relationship with Wole Shoyinka?
It's the love I have for Wole Shoyinka actually started with The Lion and the Jewel. So Lakunle is a character that if you really want Nigerians not to argue with you, you have to speak with like Lakunle. Once you speak that way, Nigerians will have no issues with you. They will never abuse you. They will never argue at all with you online. If you start tweeting that way, nobody will argue with you. Even if you try to insult them in that language, that the verbosity of that character, Nigerians will never argue with you because they don't like stressing themselves mentally. So I realized that, I said to myself, this character could be Shoyinka, and he would be very interesting in real life. So I started reading more of his works. I was very young, but I was reading them. And I developed keen interest, his hair, his voice, his beard. And then when I finally met him, I figured this is God on earth. So, so I sort of live like, even till now, it's someone you offend, and when you say sorry, he said, no problem, and it's gone. And easygoing.
What have you done that offended him? I saw where you were offering him wine, I think, and what have you done that offended him?
Not really. So there was a film screening. He invited me to come and screen my film privately for him in his office, and so there was miscommunication between me and his PA about timing. So he came late. We've been waiting. He came late, and it was maybe 20 minutes late, but he apologized to everyone. He was driving from Abeokuta. I've never really had to. No, I've never. I don't think I've offended him at all. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you read his work, the novel, The Interpreters?
I've read Interpreters long time ago. I was young, so I didn't really grasp it, but I reread it when the new one came out, because I read this new novel in manuscript. He sent me the manuscript to read.
Okay. So what do you think about his work?
Genuinely, I think he's on a different level. He's in a different world altogether. And So when I read some of his books, now that is the problem. It's his voice that I hear. So when I'm reading a Shoyinka book, it's his voice that is reading it to me. It's a problem. So whether it's written in a simplistic language or not, I always hear Prof's voice. And I learn new words every time I'm with him. Every single time. So I think highly of him. I don't think there is anybody greater than Wole Soyinka on earth. No human being. Yeah, no human.
Did you meet Chinua Achebe when he was alive?
No, I didn't meet him.
Did you try to?
But my mother did.
Okay. What do you think about his works other than the Tinsel Apart? What do you think about his work?
No, like I said, Aunties of the Savannah is one of the greatest novels ever written. I think Chinua Achebe deserves monuments and everything all over the world. But I've picked on James Corey, so it sort of connects to him as well. But I don't want to be accused of using people's names to climb the ladder of success. I remember Professor Shoyinka sending me an email and saying, all these fellowships and prizes you are instituting, remember they cost a lot of money. You need to slow down. So I have people that I want to honor, but I had to just choose a few. I want to honor people like Mama Mabeshegun, Chinua Achebe, Flora Nwapa, Cypriel Ekwensi, people like what's her name? She lived with Buche Mecheta. God bless you. She lived with Flora, so there is a connection as well. So I want to honor these people, but then I realized I've been subtly accused. It was in an email thread of Flora Nwapa's son saying that I'm using the mother's name to become successful. So I got angry for a while. Then my aunties came and said, Onyeka, you can't be this stupid. Forget about what he said. So I went back to the project again. After the daughter said, oh, go on with mama's stuff. Don't mind him. So I'm back to the Flora Nwapa project because it is what gave me the wings to fly, actually, with the documentary I made on her, which got a lot of attention, got AMA nomination, which happens to be the biggest award honor in Nigeria for filmmakers. So I think her story is important. Whether or not the son likes it or not, Flora Nwapa is no longer a private property. She's no longer a private property. Universities like University of Edinburgh would have set up fellowships and other things in her honor, but who is going to do all that? I already have a full-time job at the James Corey Society, full-time. So I may not be able to do the kind of stuff I have to do. But then there is also Professor Akache Zibo, who is the woman after my own heart, and I've been doing everything that I can to honor her while she's here. So when she's gone, I don't have to come on Twitter to cry and say, oh, she was the best thing that happened to Nigerian literature. I think that's the hypocrisy we've had to face for a long time. And I'm trying to sway them away. You know, like my own father, I didn't even attend his funeral because I kept telling him when he was alive, say, I'll take care of you when you're alive. Then when you die, I will not go and entertain mom in the name that I'm paying final respect. So most people went for my father's funeral thinking I would be there so they can come and take pictures with me. But I wasn't there. I didn't go. So now my mother is here with me in Oxford after the funeral to sort of I make sure people have to get their flowers.
Now, Country by Chinua Achebe, the last book.
I did read a few pages, to be honest with you, and I stopped because there was frenzy, brouhaha everywhere as our presidential candidate would say, there was about the book, and I thought, okay, Onyeka, let it steam down, and then I can get on it, but I wasn't able to go back. I think it was because I did read a few pages, so I stopped. I'm sorry for those who.
Why did you stop?
I don't like joining trends. So I didn't want to contribute any of the conversations when it was happening.
It's been a while now.
I know, but when I lose interest in something, I just go away. And I think I tried so hard to get to Achebe for some things for a documentary, but the wife, Dr. She wouldn't let it happen because the Achebe family, they're close to my maternal family in a way. So I tried to use my aunties to get to them. She lived at 40 Owide Road in Uguta with Flora. So I wanted to hear some of those things personally. So it wasn't possible. Dr. Christie was protective.
Now, what about contemporary, your colleagues, writers of Africa, or let's say Nigeria today? Who do you think is doing wonderful work?
Oh, many of them are doing so well. They're doing so well. But I don't want to be like them, and I don't envy them. Because because I feel like I've done the things that I really want. I love power, and it's one of the reasons why money is important. Because if you have the money to set up fellowships, prizes, why would you have to envy anyone who is a writer struggling to enter his book for a prize that you sponsor? So I'm cocky and arrogant simply because I understand strategically how I can place myself in the literary world. So I don't have to. I have been mocked in the past. I no longer want to be mocked because of money. So I don't want a situation where a review in New York Times or whatever will make one feel that he's more important than one who sets off a prize and gives him money.
So someone like Chigozie Obioma, I know he's your friend.
Chigozie is one of my closest friends.
Yeah. So if I should ask you now, between Chigozie Obioma and Chimamanda Adichie, who do you think will win the Nobel Prize first?
I will win it before them.
No. Okay. You win it before them, but the two of them, who do you think will win it?
I don't know. I'll just win it before them. I'm after myself.
But how do you weigh the writing of Chigozie when you compare that to that of Adichie?
You are trying to set me on a ball, but
no.
No worries. I will play well. I organized Chigozie's Nigeria book tour when he did a Nigeria book tour. We went to Port Harcourt, Abuja, Lagos. I organized all of them. Dinners at the Embassy of Norway and the rest of them. Were ambassadors who loved Chigozie's writing, were bothering me that they wanted to be part of the dinner. And I told Chigozie, look, this ambassador, that ambassador loves your writing. And one of them, actually, her daughter was doing a PhD on Chigozie's writing. Chigozie didn't believe any of this. The thing about Chigozie is he's very modest. He doesn't even know how big he is. So he tries to doubt anything I tell him about who he is, really, in the right frame. And I'll tell him, this ambassador wants to meet you. Chigozie will argue with me. And then the ambassador will get his email and then write to him. And I'll tell him, Chigozie, person, he doesn't know all these things. His writing is solid. And when you are reading Chigozie's writing, you're reading the writing of an old mind. he takes his time to construct a sentence, which I know, because he's edited one of my works before. So for Chief Adichie, she's already there. She's already there. And I remember being envious of her writing in Purple Hibiscus when I was young. I read it in, I think in Ma's house, Mr. Tony Akinosho's house. I read it in 2 days. And Purple Hibiscus to me then was a book I could carry everywhere with me. So someone asking me this kind of question is trying to confuse me, because these two are great, but what I know is that me, I will win the Nobel Prize before them if it will come through. But they are better than me in writing, way better than me. But I'm sure that in social capitalism, I can beat them anytime, any day. I can beat them anytime, any day when it comes to social capitalism. I know Dr. Chief Adichie has met everybody.
Now you call her chief, and it comes out so easy from your mouth. I know she was given a chieftaincy title recently, but it comes out so easy. But I know that you had an issue with Akweke Emeze and the Obanjo.
I didn't have any issue with Akweke. I only had issue with what she was telling us. Sorry.
Yeah, about Igbo Cosmo.
They said we should have to use they. Sorry. So what they were telling us, I didn't agree with that. And because I'm an Omenala person, right? I practice traditional religion. I think I found whatever they were doing very amusing. So I like to bear my mind, though not on everything, but I thought that was important. I wasn't after them. I thought, and I know, that an Obanje cannot come and put mark on their face by themselves. So
that's the wrong themselves. Okay.
Yeah. They went to Trinidad and Tobago. They used something and put mark on their faces. Meanwhile, that is never done. And Obanje is born, and that mark comes from the day they were born, or maybe a few weeks after they were given. Like when I was born, my grandmother took us to a Dibia in Umuota who would tell us who we reincarnated as. Every child went through this process. They may not know, but because as a writer, and it runs both in my family, both the paternal and maternal, we were able to narrate, tell ourselves stories. So I had that story as well. And I was very close to my maternal grandmother. So she told me many things as a child. She had one particular name for me then. I've forgotten what it is. But if someone could just change the narrative for the Western audience to sensationalize it through their publicists, then I had to write something, and then they called me Rat or something like that on Twitter. Yeah, Kweke called me Rat, some name, and it's not today they started calling me Rat. So
you wrote that Akweke is a chronic liar,
yeah,
who seems to believe their own lies.
Yes.
So I didn't know you're a traditionalist, so that worries you.
I am. I practice what they call Vadu in French, Santeria in Spanish. I go to the Vadu temples in Benin Republic. I have in my room, I have all my things, my candles, incense, everything. So I pray to Obi, the lake goddess of Uguta.
Okay, now for them, Oliver, you're next. I'll unmute yourself and ask a question.
Dr. Damages, I'm just glad about the work you are doing yourself. I know it's not easy to coordinate these things. And my brother Onyeka, I see a lot of me in you. That is not being arrogant. It's just complimenting some of the things you've said. The only difference is that you are very outspoken, more than I am. I'm one of those who choose my own way of saying my own things. So I give you kudos. It's not easy to say those things, and because when you say those things, you bring the challenge, you bring the game, and it comes back with a lot of things on your side to do to protect yourself and to also continue to fight the battle. So I thank you for what you are doing. I don't have a question. I enjoyed listening to you, and I say more kudos and God bless.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Thank you, Oliver. Igbo Basic, welcome to the show.
All right, Onyeka.
Sir?
Chukwu gozie gị.
Chukwu goziekwa gị o.
I'm blessed to be in the presence of great men like you, Rudolph Okonkwo, Nwanemwoke. I'm very pleased and happy to have showed up today.
Thank you.
I have been around the block for quite some time. Let me take it from when you mentioned the issue of Biafra. And I will say that nobody will claim to be more Biafra than I am. Let me be very blunt. I'm an Igbo person. I'm Igbo. Onye gas na yabu more mafo than Ibe, as long as I'm Igbo. My Biafran experience in Afia attack is all I can always refer to, and it teaches me and carries me forward. I don't have much to contribute or say as far as that one is concerned for now. But I'll just do a 1-2 punch. When you talked about Wole Soyinka, I've never met the man in person. But I've written at least a book that has him participating in that book. One of such books is this book here, Mazi Okono, Journey from Medicine to Theater Arts, in which Wole Soyinka's comment was, he described Mazi Okono as a seasoned broadcaster, a comic performer. Those are our forefathers that came before us. I have met Chinua Achebe on several occasions, and it was indeed a pleasure and a privilege to have been with him. Now, there is another giant that is still out there. Mazi Okono died a couple of years ago. Until his death, people were asking, people were thinking he's been dead for a long, long time. But the Mazi Okono finally died at the age of 90-something. Chief Zebrudaya Okorigwe Nwobe, alias 430. I'm sure that a lot of us who are here will know that name. He's out there, and as it stands right now, we are doing a book, the book of Zebrudaya, on that great man. Dr. Cyril Anyoke, Okmane, Dr. Seli Okogu, these are some of the people who are in this project with me. And I'm going to drag my brother here, Rudolph Okonkwo, into it at this stage because we have given ourselves a task that this has to be done within the next 90 days. So you can imagine the stage we are in now on that book. In a nutshell, Destiny, I'm talking about Onyeka, Nwelue. The path you are walking in life is the path Chineke dunyere gị ga-eme. Akara aka bụ akara aka. Nobody will take it away from you. We fear nothing. We fulfill our part and we move on. Having said that, I think I'm just going to sum it up by saying I'm not too much of a reader, but my children read. They read and they read and they read. I think I have said the much I have to say, and I'm going to ask a question. One, Onyeka which you know the name Chief Zebrudaya Okorigwe.
I know him.
I think a lot of us have been impacted by the special spoken language of that man. And about 3 or 4 of them now remaining alive. In fact, 3 on that stage. Valeria, we've interviewed her. She's in Port Harcourt. Claudius Mbojikwe is in Aba. We've also interviewed him. And then Chief Zebrudaya has 4:30. We'll be meeting with him tomorrow. Anyway, for the stage where we are now. So I am using this opportunity to ask. I'm using this opportunity to ask, by the gift that God has given you, Onyeka and Rudolph, the rest of the gentlemen here, I'm not quite sure that we've met, that the part that we play. I published a book called Igbo Basics. It wasn't by that I wanted to do that, but since 1995, I published one small book, Igbo Basics for Beginners in America. And what brought about me publishing Igbo Basics for Beginners in America was when my daughter, who is now, by the way, a lawyer and a prosecutor, when she was being born, my son was asked, what are you going to name your sister when she's born? And he says, I know, Pinocchio. Pinocchio. That word Pinocchio was what resulted into this humble book, Igbo Basics for Beginners in America, which we are simply giving to anybody. We just give it away. Please, learn Igbo language. So it's a wake-up call. Having said that, I am not much of a speaker, but I've observed a great blessing this morning by the combination of the people we have here. 3 things that I said that will happen this year, and I dare say it again. Nkembo, that Peter Gregory Obi will be elected president of Nigeria. Mark it. Our brothers, no law. We will go out and vote because if you are not in the center, so we will all participate. Obi will be elected president of Nigeria. Nke the book of Zebrudaya will be published for posterity's sake. Nke my humble self, I will join my people in Ibere. I'm from Ibere, where Mazio Kono is from, where Commodore Amadi Ikweche was from. I will join my people to do my traditional Ebotomma retirement from active service. I'm 68 plus. And if I can drag Dr. Damages, who, by the way, I ran into the other day in New York, I'm like, my brother, where have you been? So in whatever corner where we are, let us, for heaven's sake, realize that So my question to you is, what can you do to make sure that those giants like Chief Zebrudaya, they are not forgotten? I didn't choose to do this. It fell on my head. And the name is larger than life. It's larger than me. So it's an appeal I'm making to you and Rudolph. What can you do to make sure that it's taken to the level where it should be?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Let me respond quickly. What I can do is to liaise with you when the book is done, to have a UK edition of it, published in the UK and sold here and distributed and celebrated. Because, like I said, I have other projects that I have established on other legends, Akache Zibo, Flora Wapa, and the rest of them. So, so my contribution to this could be the UK publisher for this project when it's ready. And we can also develop films on them. Because I don't know if you know about area scatter. Have you heard of area scatter?
Yes, I have.
So I'm making a film on area scatter as well. How did she disappear or he disappear? Whatever happened to that character? What is where could we find a solution to some problems? So I am making a biopic of Flora Mapa as well. When she was visited by Hele Selassie in Enugu, when Kwabia Sika was there. So all these are some of the contributions that I'm doing, but it will not hurt to work with you on your projects.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Onyeka. Thank you, Mazi.
By the way, my name is not Igbo Basics.
How are you? How are you then now?
My name is Chief Alexander Iheke. Alexander Iheke.
Mr. Oliver has a question.
Okay, let's start with, Oliver, you go first.
Yes. Actually, yeah. Initially, like I said before, I enjoyed what I heard from my brother Onyeka, and I didn't have a question. But as we continue to interact, I said a few things came to mind that I wanted to bring up, which is basically I'm interested more in the artistic aspect, your writer, filmmaker aspect, and the Africa Writer series that you're doing. Rudolph here, I know you mentioned something about Rudolph publishing in 2006. Rudolph and I go a long way back in the 90s.
Oliver, stop. It's just now that I know who Oliver is. You guys, I didn't know who was there. Sometimes people on the show, and I don't remember. But now I just look at him. Let me tell you guys a story. I was in Kenya on an assignment to cover the election in Kenya in 2017, and my driver was telling me about Nollywood and Nollywood actors, African actors, and he said, "Do I know them?" I said, "Well, I know some of them." He said, "Do you know this slave trader? Is it what is the name of the movie? Slave
Warrior.
Slave Warrior. Do I know Oliver?" I said, "What do you mean, Oliver? I know Oliver." He said, "Do you know him?" I said, "Let me call him." I called Oliver from Kenya. And the guy spoke to Oliver on the phone, and he felt like I'm the biggest person in this world. So I didn't know that it's the Oliver. Oliver, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that it was you. But now that you said, I said, oh my goodness. Okay. Oliver is a great movie maker here in, I think he's in New Jersey now. And
Oliver Mbama.
Yeah.
Yes, Mbama, yes.
The great man. I came to interview Zebrudaya in your place in
Yes. So when you were talking about Zebrudaya, I was thinking he had a culture in TV series with Zebrudaya.
Yes.
Oliver.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was same thing you were thinking. I was thinking of people like Zebrudaya. They've given much to the society, and with Nollywood going the places Nollywood was going, people were not hearing much about Zebrudaya. There were people like Jagede was sick. Gregory was having eye problem, was blind, and
it's Clarus that is blind.
Sorry, Clarus was blind. Gregory also had issues later, and I was like, how is it that these are people that are of value to the society, and we just let them just fade away, and they die of things and suffer from things that can be easily taken care of by the society? And I was like, if we're in a place where the government or maybe the institutions are set to protect these assets. You look at Pele. Pele is a Brazilian asset. And if you look at what people like Zebrudaya did to us and what they brought, how they entertained us, there are values that we should protect. But we don't do that. And like Onyeka was saying, when they die, we come and with them, we tweet and we say, oh, they were great. But when they were alive and they had issues and suffering, we're not helping them. As Rudolph knows, I'm a civil servant. Even though I like films, I do films with what I say from my civil service work. But I was able to bring Zebrudaya here because my idea was to resuscitate that value and that importance he had. And that was why I brought Zebrudaya here. And we did culture series, which my brother Ibu Basic was talking about. He came to my house here and interviewed Zebrudaya. And I continue to be in touch with Zebrudaya. And let me just say it here, Zebrudaya, if you can call him and give any support, please call him and give some support, because he had some issues he was going to health-wise. And that's why I said, let me just come back again and say my brother Onyeka, because as I said, I see a lot of you in me, because I have things I'm doing here and there and there and there, but the challenge of money is there, but that doesn't stop you. And I also believe that you don't have to take money to give away your freedom. And that's one of the things that I believe strongly on. If it's a question of give money and then limit my expression of my artistic talent or my opinions, then I don't take the money. And I see those things and I agree with it. But what I wanted to say so that others can come in is, I wanted to say, Onyeka, you mentioned about writing books. Most of my films, like Rudolph had mentioned, they are meant to bring up some of these issues that are ignored. I'm actually working on something now about our Nigerian Igbo nation, and I'm saying I would like to know how we can, how you accept content. Do you have a way of submitting it? Do we have a way where we go to submit it? So that we can know, and if any other writer or content creator in the forum can know how you source your material, so that we can know how to submit, whether you have to go through some process to look at them and then consider them. Because I've published a few works here and there, and but something about yours seems to click for me, because it's coming from somebody who understands what I have gone through, where I am, and where I'm coming from. And I hear you say you're from Ezok. I'm from Mbano too, so there's a lot of connection there. So not to take away time. So when you and Dr. Damages, Rudolph, how do you share this information so that we can know how to bring our content to be considered for the Africa Writer Series, which, from what I've heard, you've done a lot of great work, and thank you for that, because those things are very important. People interested in money let me just do money. But the substance that supports the roots of that money, we ignore. There are a lot of institutions like Nwelue, Zebrudaya, all these people we're talking about. They are great pillars that we can learn from. Imagine Zebrudaya teaching comedy in a university. Isn't it possible?
Thank you.
Imagine people like Nwelue, who has been there, and so let me just stop there. But please, when you have the chance, let us know how we can, because I think it was CM that said something about what can we do to create these things. And Onyeka rightly pointed out that we are doing things on our individual basis.
In fact, let me invite CM. We have a workshop at the University of Oxford, writing and publishing workshop from January to February ending. And we have writers coming from different countries, from Zimbabwe, to teach. It doesn't matter. You can come if you're 80 years, 15, 18. So it's at the university. It's free. We're not charging any money. It's free. Also about the publishing, there is www.abibimanpublishing.com. Sorry.
In Oduduwa Lounge, the Central Avenue, when the Oduduwa Lounge was still open, a gentleman came in from Lagos. He wanted us to write something about him, positive. He gave me a whiff of money. I don't know how much money it was. I gave it back to him, and I looked at him and said, "Look at my face. Do I look like a cockroach?" And the guy said, "What do you mean a cockroach?" I said, "Because if you go to any bottle of palm wine and you see a dead insect, it's a cockroach, because it doesn't know the size of the stomach." The guy will never forget that till his dying day. What does it mean? For me to tell lies because you gave me money, that's not going to happen. And on the other hand, we talk about Igbo Basics, one of the longest Igbo publications in the United States since 1995. We have come this far because nobody has been allowed to come in and defecate the floor with their monies. We are online, igbobasics.com. It's the same Igbo Basics that led us to meet with Oliver, our brother here. And to my brothers who fight the cause of Biafra, there's a book I have here. It says, "Ofia Became Home."